What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto doesn't trust Kushina? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. A boy is seen walking endlessly into the city. He kept going past all the hateful stares of every villager, mostly men. They stare at the poor child with a killing intent that could choke a boy his age and cry, but not him. This boy was used to it. He just stared back with a forced smile and ran as fast as he could back to his own compound. Once he got back to where he was headed, he was received by two Anbu that wore masks of a dog and a cat respectively. Naruto-sama, you shouldn't walk around at a time like this. It's almost midnight and your mothers would be very worried about you. The dog-masked Anbu told him, but he just scowled at what she said. You don't have to worry about me. After all, Kushina Oka and Minako Oka never does. But thank you both, since at the very least you worry about me. He smiled at them, albeit a little forced, and ran inside the house at full speed. What do you think, Yugo? Do you think what he's saying is true? Would Sensei and Kushina actually do that? She looked back at her fellow Anbu to seek for an answer, and all she got was Yugo removing her mask with a sad smile as she said, "It's very possible, Akane. After all, here in our world where women are the only ones who are able to mold chakra, men just become civilians. It's even worse since Naruto is born as a male and from the two strongest clans' heir, along with all the hate from the people who lost their loved ones from 7 years ago. This must be very hard for him since it's almost his and his sister's birthday tomorrow." The now named Akane removed her mask to show the same sad expression. The boy was hurrying to his room hugging a flute with all his might, and just seconds before he could open his room a voice called out to him, "Oni-chan." It seems the voice was sleepy and wanted to make sure. Naruto turned around to look at his twin sister. She was Narumi, a girl blessed to have the attention of both mothers. A girl blessed to be loved and nurtured by everyone, a girl that has everything Naruto ever wanted. He was jealous of her, but he didn't hate her. She was one of the few things he had after all. She was the one of the few people that treated him as a family. "You need to go to sleep now, Narumi," he said as he patted her head and went back to his room. "A family, huh?" He stared down at the thing he's holding. The flute he received from a person he liked. And he smiled, a very true smile. Flashback. 3 years ago, when Naruto was still aged 4, he was strolling around town happily receiving the candies and treats of the nice Oni-chans from the town. He was headed to a place where he and his friends always gathered to play, but while he was strolling to the town he noticed this old woman with black hair and bandaged arm, and how the others always steer away from her, not just from this day but from every day he sees her. This made him frown. Maybe she doesn't have a friend. Then I'll be her friend, he thought as he went to her. "Hello," was what he said when he was near her. All she did was grunt and ignore him. "Hello," he called out again. She tried to get away from him, but each and every time he would pop out from out of nowhere and say, "Hello," until, "What do you want, brat?" This made the boy flinch away, but he stood tall. I'm sorry, I just wanted to be your friend." She raised her brow at what he said as if he was making fun of her, but thinking it was just a child she disregarded it. "I'm old, child. Go find someone younger to be your friend." She huffed and went away, thinking that would stop him from further trying to get close, but she was wrong. Day after day after day the boy would always be in front of this dango shop that she passes on her way home, calling out to her, "Hello," with a foxy grin, sun-kissed golden hair and oceanic blue eyes. She hated to say it, but the boy was starting to get to her. A few months later she was walking in the village trying to get away from all this hustle and bustle from the festival known as Kyuubi Festival. The festival in which the sealing of the demon known as the Kyuubi no Kitsune who terrorized the village was sealed into a child by the Yondaime Hokage, and she sealed it into her own child and was viewed by everyone as a hero, both mother and daughter. "Shut the fuck up, demon. Nobody cares about you." She heard a voice shout out from the alleyways and thought some fight was beyond her until she heard sobs from a little child. "Please, no more, it hurts," he said between sobs and coughs as he huddled in the ground, hands in his head and body coiled to receive less damage from the ones hurting him. "What are you scum doing?" She spoke in a dark tone that she herself didn't even know possible. "Dana Obachan?" He stared at her and lowered his head and continued to cry, and this little scene was heart-wrenching for the woman as she glared at the men who did this. "Leave and I won't pursue this further," she issued to the men, but one of them didn't heed her warning as he said, "What do you even care about this old lady?" This little brat is a demon and you know what demons deserve. A beating, as he kicked the boy in his stomach that made him the boy cough up blood and barf out whatever else was he ate that day. This made her snap, and as soon as she did, she snapped her fingers and a kunoichi clad in black appeared next to her and she pointed out the group. She then took the boy and decided to get out of there while the screams of the men were drowned out by the festivities. "How are you, boy?" She took him to her home as she laid him to rest in the bed, and before she could tend his wounds she was surprised at how fast his body was healing, and before she could ask, "Thanks for the help, Dana Obachan. But these wounds are nothing, it easily heals out after all." She grimaced. Could it be? Could the boy really know? The fox. I talked to her last year. After the receiving the same beating, ha ha ha, to think the very reason you're in pain is the very same thing that helps you live through the pain. What should I do? Who should I hate? Ha 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 ha. He was in pain, even his laughter was fake. It hurt the woman so see the boy in this state, laughing with tears going down his face, smiling while his eyes held sadness and grief. He may be a male, a boy even, but no child was supposed to be put to this at their age. She couldn't stop herself, even with her emotional training she couldn't stop herself from hugging the boy. This made his tears stop. When has this started? 2 years ago, at the age of 3? And year after year it only gets worse. She couldn't help it and she stood up and told him, "I'll tell your mothers." But as soon as she said that, she was stopped by the boy. "Please don't do that," he said in a weak voice, and before she could even speak, they already have enough trouble from training Narumi to control the other part of the fox from rampaging. "I don't want them to hate me for adding more trouble. But Naruto, this will only get woe." She looked at his eyes that was starting to tear up again and she sighed, "Okay. I won't tell them." He smiled at her and hugged her. "But whenever this happens I want you to call me and tell me, okay?" He smiled once more and hugged even tighter, making the old woman very happy. Sometime after this she was called out by Naruto, telling her he wanted to show her something, and as soon as she got there he smiled and put a leaf in his mouth as she saw him. And a beautiful melody soon radiated from the leaf. What was once a sound now a tune and turned melody, as if the very nature was with the music. The wind flow was very gentle and making the boy look as if he was flying, and soon he was finished. "What do you think, Ba-chan?" "I learned it from Inu-san," he asked as he smiled. "That was very wonderful and inspiring, my boy. You have a talent for music. Come with me since your birthday is near, I'll give you an early birthday present." The boy then smiled radiantly and ran to her as fast as he could. Flashback end. Oba-chan? He cried a little, as he hugged the gift he received from his Oba-chan as he fell asleep. Tomorrow afternoon, the village was once again in a joyous state, celebrating the banishment of the demon fox and the birth of the Yondaimi's daughter, the hero. But the forgotten son was nowhere to be found in the middle of the festivities. He was alone at the backyard of his own home, practicing the flute he received as a gift. This music wasn't unnoticed as the maternal mother of the family, Kushina, heard the wonderful music and wondered who was playing that beautiful song, only to be surprised to see he was with Uchiha Izuna, the heir of the Uchiha and eldest daughter, Hyuga Hanabi and Hyuga Hinata, the twins of the Hyuga. Inazuka Kira, the youngest child of the Inazuka, and Aburame Shina, the heir of the Aburame clan, and a girl with brown hair from the orphanage. Her name was 1010 if memory serves right. She stood there dumbfounded. When did Naruto learn to play a flute? When did he meet these children and how did they become friends? Who gave him the flute? She questioned herself a lot of questions and thought, I don't even know my own son. She hated the fact that in this world males in general was nothing compared to females. She once viewed the same thing, but having a son of her own and neglecting him, and knowing that she neglected him, it hurt. She hated herself for it. She remembered all the times when Naruto tried to get closer to his family, to get closer to her, and she didn't care, and the boy gave up as a whole. He became the forgotten child. But not anymore, she told herself. Hey kids, the festival is still ongoing, you kids should have fun. The others nodded and hesitantly looked at Naruto as he nodded as a sign of farewell, and they each went on their separate ways while Naruto not once even looked at her face and went back inside the house before he was stopped by Kushina. Hey Naruto dearie, want to have ramen with mother later at 3? She asked in the most motherly voice she could do and tried to stop herself from crying when she saw the boy crying as hard as he could and hugged her as he said, yes, please, in a silent and barely audible voice. She knew the pain of her son from all the neglection. As they went on their separate ways, both person were smiling happily, albeit for almost the same reason. Kushina Kachan finally notices me. This might seem as a low reason to be happy, but to him this reason meant the world to him. Maybe our family can be whole again. Kushina thought as she kept making plans on how to get the family closer to one another. She hated the reason why Naruto was neglected. Flashback. We can't do that, Minako. They are both our children and favoring one over the other isn't right as parents. Kushina yelled at her partner. But we must. For the sake of the village and the safety of this village. Naruto is a male, and thus cannot use the Kyuubi's yin chakra. But if Narumi ever loses control of the Kyuubi's yang chakra, what would it be for us then? I don't want to do this as well, but we must. Minako barely whispered out the last part as he stared crestfallen at the ground. But, Kushina tried to say something, but she found the logic and she felt the loving embrace of her partner as she cried onto her shoulder. Don't worry, once we train Narumi into controlling it, we can then finally love as a family. And even then no one will do anything to the boy after all. I'm the Hokage and he's my son, the Hokage's son, but if only they knew what he would be going through in the future. Flashback end. Later at 2:37 p.m. Kushina, sensei has called for you. The dog-masked Anbu known as Akane called out to her. About what? The annual council meeting, it seems. She shrugged as she pulled out an orange little book that was then snatched by Kushina. What have I told you about this little book? She demanded. Please forgive me, Kushina. She brought both arms in a pleading manner as she wanted her book back, and Kushina sighed and gave back the book. There's not enough time, she said as she stared at her clock. Akane, be a dear and tell Naruto that I have a council meeting and we can continue some other time. Akane saddened by the thought that Naruto was right in what he said to them before, but nodded anyways. At the council meeting, well, we are once again gathered here to talk about things that may interest us or our village. Minako stood as the head of the Kunoichi Council, as the civilian council, which is mostly made up of men, are at the farthest. I'll get right to it then. Give your pup to me. Sume, head of the Inuzuka clan, told the Hokage, and this raised a voice from other clans. Don't get me wrong, I don't care one bit about the girl. The one I want is your male pup. She shrugged and others wondered what she meant, or at least the parents of said boy. Did this always happen at every meeting? The boy being fought over by each clan except the Uchiha, who sternly believes that a clan shouldn't be tainted with male filth except as slaves. Or at least that's how the head of the clan Uchiha Fuko sees it. My young pup always talk about him and I say give him to me. She finished as she once again sat down. Surely you're joking. Hokage-sama, if you're going to be giving rights of your son, then give him to us. I'd gladly give one of my twins for him. Hyuga Heiabi told her. Enough of this talk. My son is still too young to be branded off to others. The way he put it made some of the clan heads angry, and the anger of a certain Dana was included. At the same time in Ichiraku's. Well, hello there, boy. What can I get you? Ichiraku Tuchi, one of, if not the only, male in the village that doesn't hate Naruto, asked out. I'm waiting for Kushina Kachan. And the old man suddenly smiled and said, then this year is really glorious now, isn't it? As he laughed a hearty smile and continued to talk with him when the Anbu came and told Naruto. Naruto-kun, Kushina told me that she has a council meeting today and has told me to tell you that she'll be very late and you should do this some other time. She was sad as she told him news, but he didn't expect the boy to smile as he told her. Akane Wanichan, please tell Kushina Kachan that I'll wait for her here. Today is my birthday and I want to celebrate it with her if possible, a sad but sincere smile. She blushed a little and nodded. He called my name. Naruto-kun called my name. She was ecstatic and wanted to tell the news to the other Kunoichi, but she almost forgot that she has a message that must be carried out to Kushina first. Hours went. Naruto, my boy, we're almost closing. Sorry about the whole waiting for nothing. Here, have some ramen on the go. It's on me, he smiled to him. Thank you, Tuchi-san. Please say hello to Ayame-chan for me. He nodded and went on his way, but things were never this easy, especially not on his birthday, aka the Kyuubi festival. Well, what do you know? It's the demon brat. A drunken man told him in a semi-slurred voice as he kicked the boy and forced him to drop the ramen. He dropped his dinner. Well, too bad. He was kicked again. He wanted to fight back, but they were adults. He couldn't fight back. If only he could control chakra. Hey guys, look. No bruise. I threw a rock at his head yesterday and there isn't any bruises. Told you guys this brat, Airs a demon. Kick again, and this time he writhed on the ground as he held his stomach. Damn demon. He was kicked with a powerful force that sent him to a nearby wall, and when he sprawled at the ground, one of them spoke up. Hey, listen to this. As a man stomped on him and crack. Gah. Arms weren't supposed to bend that way. The pain was too much, as he finally succumbed to the pain and lost consciousness. This isn't over, Brad. It's just getting started. Hee, was the last thing he heard before blacking out. A day after the festival, a frantic red-headed mother and daughter were circling the house, barely being held by the golden-haired paternal mother. Kushina, calm down. I'm sure he's just with his friends. Calm down? Calm down? He's been gone since yesterday and you expect me to calm down, Minako? How are you even calm? He's your foo. She looked at her daughter and decided not to curse, at least not while her daughter is there. Son is out there happening who knows what. As if it was timed, the door was suddenly slammed open, revealing a very angry and intimidating Dana, and behind her was a very small, very cautious and very scared Naruto. Seeing him eased Narumi and Kushina as they went to Naruto, but was then stopped by Dana, and she said, "Call the council?" Minako was going to ask why, but Dana's glare didn't ask for questions and she just nodded, and as soon as it happened, Dana went to leave and Naruto followed her. Wait, where do you think you're going, Naruto? Minako asked out, and Naruto just stared back at her and said, "Home, but this is your home." Minako tried to reason. She wanted to know why her own son was acting like this to her, like she didn't exist to him, like how she treated him. A tear then fell from her eyes when Naruto shook his head and said, "This isn't my home," and then walked back to Dana's side. "Okawa-sama, Okawa-chan, where's Oni-chan going?" was the only thing she asked, before she was hugged by Kushina and carried her to her bed, but not before saying to Minako, "There's no one to blame here but you, and frankly I blame myself too." As coldly as she could, she still loved Minako, but the pain of losing the love of your child was too much to care for someone, even if that someone was your partner. This meeting has been brought to haste upon the call of the elder Dana. Minako spoke up to the others in the council as they were wondering what this was about, and Minako soon spoke again. "Now state your reason for the meeting," she said as she proceeded to sit down. "I'll get straight to the point. I am hereby announcing to everyone here that I am going to adopt Naruto for his own safety." Uproar was suddenly in the room, coming from both the Ninja Council and Civilian Council, but it was soon silenced by the Hokage. "Forgive me, but I have not given rights over Naruto, and if it's for his safety then I can easily." She was still going to speak but was stopped short when Dana yelled out, "Rights? You lost your rights. That boy won't even look at you." She snapped, but she soon calmed down and continued, "Forgive me, I lost myself for a moment, but continuing this talk. The rights you speak of is not yours to give anymore. As a parent, no, as the Hokage no less, you have abandoned your own child, your own flesh and blood. I fear that if he stays with you, safety won't be an issue, but a funeral would be the issue." Kushina was tearing up at each of her words, and Minako tried to calm her down, but seeing as nothing is happening, she went and continued to ask, "What you say right now are in the lines of threats. Show me a good reason why you think that I'm not fit to raise my own child." She was firm on her demand, but Dana looked back with the same stare and firmness. "If you mean raising Narumi, then you have no problems, but raising Naruto, there are way too many flaws to even need to say, so I'll show everyone here instead. So if I can have the assistance of the Yamanaka to show the others my memories." She looked at the Yamanaka clan head. "Proceed." As soon as Minako said this, the memory scan was then started. "Memory scan. Hurry, the boy must be found." Dana ordered out to her subordinates, and they went on their way, leaving her to her own thoughts. "This stupid and useless meeting took a lot of my time. If my memory serves me correctly, this is the day of the year those scum hunt him down. I must get to him faster than them. Please be safe." But as soon she finished this thought was a Kunoichi suddenly appearing in front of her. "He's been found along with others who seems to be doing the Festival of Blood. Give us the signal to proceed. You have my go. But do not kill any of them, rough them up, but no casualties. I want them to feel the pain they give tenfold." The Kunoichi nodded and gave her a slip of paper with writings on it and proceeded to go to the directions in the paper. "Jia, stop it please." A man was being held down and sliced across his body, but not fatally as per the order. "It hurts." Same with this person, however this person was missing an eye, 2 fingers, and an ear. Dana only gazed at the men writhing in pain as she proceeded to walk straight to the designated area, and as soon as she got there a painful and horrible stench suddenly attacked her nose as she almost puked from the smell. No, it can't be. She hurriedly opened the door of the cellar in front of her and a sight unimaginable was seen. The boy was hung up suspended in the air with hooks that holds him. One hook on each hand, 2 hooks on his frail back and 1 hook each of his sides. To make matters worse, that was just the holders. There were various things on the boy that could easily be seen as disturbing. A target inner circle seen on the boy's fragile and young body with 5 darts stabbed in it, ironically having one of the darts in the exact middle of the target. A knife stabbed in his leg, his face full of cuts and bruises, but the worst yet was the long katana stabbed right through his neck and the saw in his leg halfway to cutting up the said joint. Even with all those damage done to him, which would easily kill even an adept kunoichi, would die from, the boy still spoke up, his hoarse voice and pained cries. He said, "Place, is, e, no, mo, re." As he finished he kept sobbing. The pain must be unbearable, knowing that she wasted the time to call in one of her kunoichis to find a medical help. All of the kunoichis called in were not as strong-willed as she was, as they all couldn't help but puke out the remains of their food as the horrific scene in front of them were too much. "Hurry and help the boy. He's still alive and I want to keep it that way," she ordered out, and the memory soon blacked out as Yamanaka head couldn't help but ran out of the room. Memory scan end. The council was surprised by the sudden outburst of the Yamanaka to suddenly ran out of the room. And they all sat there for a good 5 to 10 minutes before the Yamanaka came back. "What happened?" Minako asked her, but she looked back at her grimly. I don't think you all should see this, but as this is an evidence, I must show it to everyone, just a fair warning. I will not show this until everyone here has a trash bag near them." The council was flabbergasted at her request, but they were all given a bag each, and the memory was then passed on to the others, and it was safe to say that the warning came in handy, as almost all of the people inside had lost their bowels at the horrific memories they saw. This seems more than enough as evidence and reason for me to take Naruto. But that's impossible. Just this morning you showed to us that Naruto was well and normal." Minako tried to fight back the tears that was about to fall from her eyes as Kushina was already crying. She needed to be strong for both of them. "I'm sure everyone here knows of what's inside the boy, so I won't have to hold back. The boy has the yin chakra of the fox inside him, but being unable to wield chakra, the fox then uses the chakra to strengthen the boy's natural healing rate. He can live from otherwise fatally wounding attacks, but he is not by any chance an immortal. I would not hand the boy to parents who would disregard their own child's safety for the other child." With this, all eyes were then on said parents, eyes of disgust, eyes of distrust, eyes of regret, and more emotions. "I need to know what exactly happened to Naruto. This may bring nightmares to the boy, but until we find out what actually took place, then we can't do much. So if you please, Naruto-kun." As soon as Dana called out to the door, a scared and confused-looking boy was carefully scanning the room before running to the old woman's side, hugging her clothes. "Naruto, my boy, I'm sure you'd want to forget everything that happened, but we need to see exactly what it is that happened, but don't worry, I'm here to protect you," Dana assured to him, and although a little hesitant he nodded. "It hurts. It really hurts. Why is this happening? I've never done anything wrong, not one thing." I cried as I slowly started to gain consciousness, but that may very well be a bad thing at this point, as I now suddenly remember the men from before. I slowly opened my eyes to look around, but even this proved as a wrong action, as my captors suddenly punched me right in the stomach, and all the pain brought to my body made me cough out blood. "So the fox is awake now, it seems?" I looked at the man who punched me and saw his smile. That evil, angry and destructive smile. "Why won't you let me go?" I tried asking, knowing full well as was useless, and the man only scoffed at me and said, "The other people in the village may be fooled by you, but those of us who aren't will be your bringer of punishment. You will pay for your sins," he yelled out to me as he kicked me as hard as he could in the right side of my face. "I just want to go home. I want to get as far away from here. My wishes are useless, however, and I know it. What sins? I'm just a kid. I've never even done anything to any of you." I never thought this could anger the man, but it seems anything I say is offensive to him and to the others, as 2 more men started to walk towards me. I wanted to get away, but my hands were tied to a part of the building. I couldn't get away. I couldn't even move for that matter, since my feet are also tied up. "Sins? Are you making a fucking joke, brat? Are you making fun of us? Huh?" He angrily kicked me again and again with his two friends, helping him beat me up. Kick to the face, punch in the stomach, punch in the face that surely broke my nose as it was now bleeding. Oh Cammy. This hurts so much. I cry once more, but it only seemed to fuel their egos as they intensify the pain they give me. Stop lying. Everyone knows you're the fox brat. You and that sister of yours. I ignore all pain as hard as I could at what he said. What did you do to her? I know I couldn't do anything to them, but I'll never forgive them if they ever hurt Narumi. Ah, the little fox brat is worried for his monster kin. Don't worry brat. Your sister is a female, so automatically means she could control the fox with some training, so he can't do shit to her. I unconsciously heave a sigh of relief, but someone who may very well be another fox that can't be controlled, however must be dealt with, he yelled as they once again hit me over and over again. Stop that you three. A man yelled out to them as they stopped. I'm saved, or at least that's what I thought, but the man suddenly stopped in front of me and said, "You're going to make him faint again. And that will be no fun if it happens, you know." Luckily I got this little energy pill that will push the limits of the bodies. He showed them as he suddenly punched me in the gut, forcing me to open my mouth as he just threw it there, and I reflexively swallowed out of pain, and as the man said, I had been filled by this unexplainable energy as I slowly start to shake. "Oh, looks like it's working," he ecstatically shouted. "What, did you feed me?" I couldn't stop the shaking. "I'm scared. Someone please help." My question went on deaf ears, however, as they only stared at my shaking and scared body. Man, this is a lousy way to tie him up. Lousy? I'm tied up like some caged and caught animal, and they still think this is lousy. Why is this always happening to me? What do you mean? The tying ain't good enough? Yeah. Go get the hooks. This will be fun. He suddenly looked back at me, laughing as menacingly as he could. I instantly know that for the first time in my life, I hate this person. They waited for a couple of minutes, but for me, these couple of minutes felt like a very, very long time. I'm afraid of what more will happen to me, of what they'll do to me. I hate this. I cry once more, and the men just laughed and made fun of me while occasionally kicking me as hard as they could. I venture away from consciousness, but every time I do I get brought back by whatever the pill that man forced me to swallow. I almost cried again, but remembered that pain soon follows, so instead of crying I closed my eyes, trying to block out everything, every little thing in this room. All I could taste and smell was the gut-wrenching, disgusting smell of rusted iron. The smell of blood, but there is nothing I could do but wait for whatever they are planning to do to me. And soon I heard a door open and the man near me walking away. "Got the hooks, man," he yelled out. If I could close my eyes more, then I would probably have done so. Excellent. He was more than happy to have heard that news, but for me, I figured, it's going to be more painful as I try to hold out on closing my eyes. "Mind telling us what you're planning?" The man only laughed at his question as I hear the door close and footsteps get nearer and his laugh getting louder. "I could tell you, but where's the fun in that?" he said as he stopped right in front of me. I still have my eyes closed, but by the closeness of his voice I'm sure he was that near. "It's more fun to just show you, right? Now remove the ropes in his hands and don't ask questions." They did as he said. I could run away, but they only removed the restrictions in my hands. My feet, however, were still tied. I could try to fight back, but even as a child I know that it would be useless. I continued to close my eyes as the man carried my light body by pulling my left hand up in the air. "Oh, why have your eyes closed, kid? This would be more fun if you know what's going to happen, you know." But I won't let them have their fun. Even if just this, I would defy them. But that soon proved to be futile as well. "Meh, have your way then." And as soon as I think he gave up, that's when I opened my eyes in pure surprise and pain. "Ah," I cried once more, "it hurts. It really hurts." "Oh wow, so that's what you were planning." I know what he was talking about. I don't want to know, but I feel what he did. I tried to look away, but he grabbed my hair and forced me to see. A hook, straight through my hand. I puked. "Gah, you disgusting brat." He punched me right in the face, but I didn't even feel it. All my pain was coming from the hand that was now hanging in the air, being held there by the hook. But this was soon forgotten as the man once again took my other hand and put another hook in. "Oh Cammy. It hurts so much. Why can't I lose consciousness? Why is this happening?" I cry again, but of course this led to them punching me again and again until my face itself bled. He noticed the cuts on my face slowly healing. "Hey guys, look." He beckoned to the others to come nearer, and as they did they stared into my face and noticed it too. "Ah, the monster is trying its best to heal." Well, we know what to do, right? He laughed and mocked me as they all started to proceed beating me up and hitting my face. They went on for minutes until I could not feel my face anymore. That's enough, guys, let's continue with the hooks. He went behind me as he plunged 2 hooks onto my back slowly and as painfully possible. I wanted to scream, but my swollen face didn't allow it. So I just did the only thing I could. I let my tears flow again, soothing my swollen and pained face even if only a little. Well, this is all I wanted to do. But I still got extras. What to do? What to do? As if he doesn't even know. He was mocking my tortured form hanging in the air via hooks as he looked at me. I was still only in the air by a little since my feet were still tied, whatever it was, but the man proceeded to remove the ropes in my feet, knowing that with the hooks embedded in me that I can't get away. Oh, I know. How about here? He pushed another hook on the right side of my chest. I tried to do something, anything. But the best thing I could do was whimper. With all the things they brought upon me, the only thing I could do was cry and whimper. I'm no superhero. I'm just a normal young kid. I don't have any superpowers that could easily get me away from all these, none of those overpowered, convenient attacks that could save me. Just a normal 8-year-old boy. Ha ha ha, that's right, cry like the monster you are. But don't worry, this is the last of them. And this one goes somewhere around here. He plunged it into the other side of chest, and as more blood stained the ground, the higher I rose from it. There, a bona fide tying for a bona fide monster, don't y'all think? He asked out to the others as they snickered and laughed. I have been meaning to get a good workout. Tag out. The man who hooked me moved out of the way as another one got nearer, cracking something. I braced for more pain as he stopped and proceeded to punch me non-stop. He didn't stop for almost 5 to 10 minutes, and when he did, someone yawned. This is boring. I don't even know who's talking to who anymore. My swollen eyes can't see anymore right now. I've got some darts. Want to play? Sure, but where's the board? Look behind you. The men laughed, and then I felt someone remove the shirt I have, and I felt something cold touch my battered skin and body. It was red from the looks of it. It was my blood. There, who's ready to play? And their sick fun continued as I felt each and every dart impaled to my body and get removed, only to be once again be impaled. This lasted for a long while. I gave up trying to do anything. As long as I don't show any emotion, they'll lose some of their attraction towards this act. Man, this is boring. The brat won't even do a thing. Y'all think we killed it? Nah, that's impossible. Look, he's still breathing. Hey yo, you alive, brat? He punched me right in my face again, but I didn't do anything. A little bit more and they'll give up. Hopefully. This isn't any fun without him reacting to our judgment. Got any ideas? I still hung my head down in hopes they'll lose their fixation on this torture and just end me already. You're right, this is boring. Get me that saw, it's about time we finish this. I still have to get home and feed the tiger. At last, it's almost over. You know, my tiger loves meat. You fit just perfect. Now let's get started. Now, everything will be almost over. ARRGH. It hurts. I couldn't do anything but scream. Gah, this damn brat is way too noisy when we don't want it. Someone silence this shitty brat. Ah. I tried to scream the pain away, but then someone forcefully held my head against something hard. Wood was how it felt. But this wasn't what silenced me. What silenced me was the sudden stab of a sword through my throat like. Whoa man, that's a nice sword. Went to him like a hot knife through butter. Yes, like that. And as painful as all this happened to me, that pill still gives me enough energy to somehow force me awake. It's weakening, though. I can't feel much anymore. All that's left to my surroundings is the maniacal laugh, terror, and the smell of blow. OD. So, this is the ends, huh? Finally, I can rest. Shut your mouth, kid. Who's there? Please no more. I can't do this anymore. Don't worry, Naruto. It's me. It's only me. I looked at the voice and it all came back to me. It's the Kyuubi. I stared at her, wondering why she even bothered calling out to me, but despite the clear confusion on my face, she laughed and told. You shouldn't just give up like this, kid. You still have friends who worry for you. And there's also your sister, remember? She's right. But I can't escape. There's no hope anymore. Even against my downtrodden look and visage, the Kyuubi still laughed at me. Kid, there is always a chance. Right now I'm doing my all to make you live. The least you could do is try to live. But if I do live, then the same things will keep on happening, day after day after day. I looked down again on this empty space in what she called mindscape. I'm not the only one who's helping you live. Remember that old bat? Dana Obachan? She nodded and told me. Now call out to her. Wake up and call out to her, Kit, she told me as she came out in front of me. Her giant figure with her face in just a touch. Thank you, Kyubi. I hugged her face for as big as I could, which isn't really that big since I was still a child, and she very, very big. I'll see you sometime again, Kit. Hopefully not at the same predicament. And everything came back, the senses. The pain, even the sword in my throat. But I still see another figure. For as loud as I could. Even if it's impossible, I'll still try. I called out to whoever this is. In my mind I was calling out for Dana Obachan's help, but for the least I could try to stop this person. Place, Ayaz, E. No, Mo, Re? And I lost consciousness again, but not before hearing her voice. Thanks for coming for me. Dana Obachan. End of POV. The Yamanaka head, having learned her lesson previously, had a trash bag near her. Of course, suffice to say she didn't actually release any waste, but the action itself was needed to relieve herself of whatever she saw. After a good few minutes of her acting this way and finishing, they noticed Naruto cradled to the elder with his hands on his head, and the boy was very, very scared. Everyone inside was anxious. The Yamanaka seriously asked out, even though she knew the obvious answer. Do you really want to view this memory? I can assure you that the memory we saw from Elder Dana is 100% legitimate. Everyone, however, even the village's civilian council, wants to know what happened. Whether for their own enjoyment or to know the truth, however, is still a mystery. Yes, was the only answer she received as she sighed and said, okay. I understand, but the same request still stands. A few minutes later and the same thing happened, only this time, however, was much worse of a reaction. It was still the same with the action to expunge, but the waste never showed as it was already done before. But how it was worse though was how the clans looked grimly at their Hokage and her partner, with the Inuzuka clan head jumping straight to the Hokage but being stopped by the Hyuga clan head saying, "She is still our Hokage for better or worse, so I advise against it." She was thinking of doing the same thing but decided against it. The Inuzuka, having reached the boiling point, bolted out of the door, growling in anger. Everyone knew better than to stop a rampaging Inuzuka, so they let her off. I suppose this will be the end of the questions in this meeting. I will come back later for the documents, she stated with a dark voice before turning to the shaking and scared child and said, "Let's go, Naruto. Come, let's go home," with a voice that seemed to calm the boy down as she picked him up and went away. And one by one, they all left while glancing dark stares at the couple left behind. One was already long gone into sleep, or after what they saw. The dream she must be seeing is a nightmare. The other was holding her head, trying to understand where she went wrong. How everything started, and all the non-trivial and already too late questions. As soon as it was over, the two went straight to Dana's home, albeit with some few obstacles. Mainly, the paternal mother of the Namikaze Uzumaki clan. Flashback. 4th Hokage, we have talked about this in the meeting, and it was a unanimous decision that it would seem best for the boy to stay with me. The boy was behind her, looking at his mother with eyes that could and would probably hurt the receiver, as those same eyes perceive emotions such as anger, broken hopes, fear, and worst of all, contempt. Contempt that was being displayed fully and directed at her. As the Hokage of a village, she easily learnt the ways of reading body language, such as facial expressions. Hurt was evident on her face. Let me just talk to him, please." Dana was about to object, but she felt Naruto pull her clothes slightly. As she looked at him, she saw Naruto telling her it's okay and telling her that she should go first as he went towards his mother. Dana decided that she should stay and wait. "Mina Okawa-sama." His voice didn't hold any venom, which was weird, as someone who hated someone else would normally or even subtly say words with anger. But he didn't. "Hey, are you sure about this?" He nodded. "Don't worry, I can take care of myself. I did so all these years after all." He didn't say this as to smite her, in fact he didn't want her to worry about him, but these words still hurt her nonetheless. Minako hung her head low. Something that someone of her stature should not easily show others, she showed a weakness. "You hate me now, don't you?" She expected as much and was only waiting for the answer she'll receive. No, of course not, but she got something unexpected. She looked at him, with tears in her eyes. She choked back a sob. "Then why are you leaving?" I promised to be a better mother to both of you, so please don't leave." Promises are words that can only be done after doing it. It would take too long for me to see if you can fulfill it. I'm sorry mother, but I can't. She was getting ready to cry, but she was still holding it in. I still respect you mother. As a Hokage and as the leader of this village. I don't hate you for doing your job, but as a mother, I can't forgive you for abandoning me, your child. I still love you but, I can't forgive you right now. Tears were now falling on her face as she held back her sobs. Let it go, Mina Okawa-sama. Pain should always be let go. Cry, it's okay, you're human too. As soon as she heard that, she couldn't hold it back and cried. Don't worry, I'll still be living here in the village after all. Goodbye Mina Okawa-sama. Flashback end. Here we are Naruto-kun. Your new home. It was a big home, as what you would expect from someone of her stature. It wasn't as big as your previous home, but this would be better. Naruto was keen to danger, being hunted by the men of the village. Something like a prey having higher senses to dodge a predator's killing blow. But of course being nothing but a small boy, sensing and dodging were two separate things. Having noticed the wide stare the boy had, Dana chuckled as she ushered the boy to his new home. Woo! This is a big house you have, Dana Obachan. Don't worry, you'll get used to this old house soon enough. For now let's eat out, shall we? The two proceeded to go and went out, the old woman in front and Naruto following her every step. Naruto was cautiously looking from left to right as if searching for something or someone. Are you okay my boy? Is something the matter? Naruto was caught off guard and was unable to quickly answer her, so instead he only shook his head. Truthfully though, he was on the lookout for those people who try to hurt him. He rarely walks in the main path like now since he was afraid of being caught by those people. Furthermore, he wasn't used to walking with someone, not even his friends. The boy's face grew sadder remembering his friends. He wasn't able to fully tell them where he was or where he intends to live now. Sure, they may meet on the way or something, but Naruto rarely goes outside unless absolutely necessary, so the chance of meeting them outside was little to none. Where do you want to eat? We'll eat till you're full. What do you say? The boy's brooding frown turned into a glimmering smile as he pulled her with all his might towards his very own, one and only favorite shop. The nicest man to ever serve him food at all. Ichiraku's Ramen. Good afternoon Tuchi-san, Naruto called out as he entered a small shop at the edge of the village while still holding the hand of the elderly woman. Mind if y'all wait a bit? Got my hands full at the moment. Ayame went out to deliver orders and customers have been flocking in. The voice came from further inside the establishment, possibly in the kitchen? Need some help? Nah, all is well, just sit tight and wait for a while. They did as was told, but there seemed to be an awkward silence between the two as they sat. Well, for the old lady that is. Naruto however was as giddy as can be, looking around, twiddling his feet, drumming his fingers on the table and then taking off towards the kitchen. Naruto? Two separate voices called out. One was from Dana and the other was from Tuchi, the owner of the establishment. Apparently, Naruto wasn't giddy, more like he was impatient as he rushed off to help the man. Hee, it's fine Tuchi-san. I told you before that you can ask me to help anytime. Bah, do what you want. I ain't paying you in any kind or form for this though, got it? He nodded and smiled as he said, yeah. Dana was a little bit surprised at what was happening before her as she saw the boy quickly handing out orders to the customers from one corner to the other, and instead of being scorned and yelled out, the people were rather happier, at the very least was nonchalant about the demon, or the Hokage's son, handing out their food. It seemed so natural, so friendly, so peaceful for the boy. If I didn't adopt the boy, then this person is pretty much the perfect person as a standing parent for him. She thought as she looked at the two as they were working in perfect harmony. She chuckled as she noticed that this was probably the happiest face he made all day. Naruto has helped the shop for around 10 to 20 minutes until the owner's daughter came back, and they waited for an additional 3 minutes for their own food to be served, but it was all good. Naruto was happy after all. Here are your orders. 2 pork ramen, 1 medium size and 1 Naruto size. Ayame called out for their attention as she handed their orders. Here's a little extra for the work you did. She whispered quietly as she handed out some toppings as she went to hand out other orders. They both decided to eat, but the silence between the two was more than painful, so to remove the silence the woman decided to break the ice with a question, but before she could. I found you. A yell, along with a loud bang of wood hitting or being hit with something hard. Gah! The boy found himself with a sudden headache along with a weight of the shape of a girl with brown hair wearing a hoodie, shorts and sandals on top of him. He was under some pain from the sudden attack, but the girl was, however, was fine as she kept rubbing her cheek to him as if she was cuddling with a teddy bear, and in the case that was happening right now, it was entirely just that. Slowly regaining his thoughts, Naruto called out, "Kira-chan?" The person in question didn't bother to look at him when he called out, but at the very least answered back, "Yes." Naruto inhaled a large amount of air before, "Ow!" Kneeling and hanging her head low, the girl called Kira had her eyes closed. "You should stop bothering other people whenever or wherever like that." In front of the old woman was a scene that was funny and cute at the same time. The girl was being reprimanded by the boy, but he never raised his voice, not even once. He was calmly and gently telling the girl of manners, but as fun as this scene was, they were still in the middle of eating. "She seems to be sorry about what she did. Please forgive her, Naruto, and let's all share lunch, shall we?" The boy looked at her and sighed as he nodded. He put his hand on top of the girl's head and gently caressed her head, which the girl happily giggled at. It seems she enjoys the petting. They soon resumed back to eating and even bought food for the girl. "What are you doing here, Kira-chan?" Slurping the bowl for the remaining soup, she didn't hear the question, so she did what most would do. "Huh? I mean, why are you here?" To answer him, she simply pointed directly at Naruto. "Huh?" This time it was his turn to be confused, as Dana only chuckled as she continued to eat her food in silence. The girl, now known as Kira, pouted as she looked at Naruto. "You weren't at your home. I had to find you all over the place." Naruto's face turned from confusion to understanding to melancholic. "I don't live there anymore." He looked away hoping she wouldn't pry, but it seems he knows that she's not the type to read the atmosphere. "What do you mean?" It's nothing. Why did you want to see me anyway?" "Well, it's about time we play with the others. They're waiting, you know." He only nodded and smiled as he hurriedly finished his food and faced Dana as he said, "I'll be going for a while. I'll see you back at the house." He bowed and quickly made a dash outside of the establishment with Kira in hand. "Make sure he doesn't get to any trouble." Dana whispered to no one, but Akunoichi suddenly appeared and disappeared, giving her only a nod. "So, who are the ones there?" She looks at him and smiles as she said, "Well, there's the twins and the red eyes Oni-san. Kira, you really should learn the others' names, you know. I'll try some other time," she said as she smiled widely with a small laughter in her voice. "How about the others?" Naruto wondered. "Well, 10-10 has some kind of task to do, and the silent one. I really don't know." She laughed as she remembers the silent girl. Naruto shook his head at her antics and laughed with her as they continued to go to their destination. The destination was a small park. People rarely come to this park anymore as it wasn't placed in a spot where people often pass to. Naruto found this place while hiding from the people that was out to hunt him. He found this place as quiet, peaceful, and most of all safe. It was here that he always runs to and never gets found, so it was his own safe haven that he shared to his friends. Special people that one way or another understands what Naruto is going through and is willing to be there for him. Right now there was the Hyuga twins, Hinata and Hanabi. The three of them met at a very unlikely place, and that was when they were still around 4 years old. Flashback. Another party. Great. Time for me to hide. He went further away from the noise as he wandered around the house. He saw 2 girls trying to climb a tree. He hurriedly ran towards their position in case one of them slips. And as he expected, one did in fact slip and fell, but Naruto was there to save the day. He jumped towards the spot where the girl would fall, taking the full brunt of the fall instead. "Are you okay, Hina?" The other one quickly and effortlessly jumped down with ease as she looked at her sister with worry. The other girl that fell, however, was up to her eyes in tears. I was so scared." "It's okay. I caught you, remember?" Under the girl the entire time. He decided to comfort her even though he was in the most painful situation right now. The girl hurriedly got off from him and kept saying her apologies. "It's okay. I just want to know why you're trying to climb such a big tree." He gazed at the said tree while waiting for their answer. My ribbon, mother gave it to me. We have a matching pair. It got flown there by the wind and she was starting to tear up, so Naruto had to do something. So once he got up he told them, "I'll get it for you." With a smile as he slowly and clumsily, even falling down a few times here and there, but in the end he was able to get the ribbon. "I got it." They were happy at the event, and as soon as the boy was going down the tree, halfway down he slipped and fell, but he made sure not to hit any of the two girls. That night, Naruto's selflessness, courage and kindness quickly found a friend in these two girls. Even though he was quickly berated by his parents for doing something so outrageous. Flashback end. Then there was the Uchiha prodigy. Uchiha Izuna. She was, in a word, distant to others, but it was this very reason why Naruto was able to connect with her. Flashback. I hate this. Hick. He was once again hiding behind some alley from being persecuted by the others. But his luck soon ran out as the men heard his crying. There he is. After the shout was mentioned, people drove in horde as they went towards the boy. The boy was too tired to move and only cowered, but even before the ones hunting him could even touch him, a girl a few years older than the boy stood in between as to block them from their target. "Leave before you get hurt," she told them in an icy tone. "Get out of our way, girl." The man didn't heed her warning and continued onward only to kiss the dirt below. "I repeat, leave, now." Adding more venom to her voice was enough to make the grown-ups cower like kids and run with their tails behind their back. She planned to leave immediately, leaving the boy behind, but was instead caught by the boy's loving embrace. "Thank you so much." The boy's sniffling has stopped and from his voice was utter happiness. The boy oftentimes at most hugs the unsuspecting girl whenever he sees her. The girl was always distant to others and thus the only one able to understand her was the boy who kept on trying to get closer to her. Flashback end. Last but not the least of the people who are here right now was the girl who was accompanying Naruto. The second daughter of the Inuzuka clan, and the heir of the clan. Supposedly the heir was supposed to be her older sister, but her sister didn't want to be troubled by all the responsibilities and as such, pushed the responsibilities to her younger sister Inuzuka Kira. The two of them is probably the closest of the group, as they both understand the weight of being weaker than your sibling. More so for Naruto. But their meetings was what made the girl glad that she met him. Flashback. Hey, watch where you're going. The girl accidentally bumped into the boy, but she was the one who was angry. Sorry, the boy quietly spoke as he hurried off to wherever he was planning on going to. HMPH. Weird kid. She thought, after all, anyone would usually bow or something because of her status, but the boy didn't care. Their meetings usually went like this, with Kira getting more angrier as time goes on. Are you doing this on purpose or something? Watch where you're going already. The boy blankly stared at her as he said, "Oh, it's you again. Hi, I've got something to do so I'll see you later." He hurried off once again, but this time, she will find her reason of why the boy was always in a hurry. It always made her wonder why after all. As she followed the boy's scent using her clan's strong nose, she suddenly saw the boy being kicked and bullied by other older and bigger guys than he was, and instead of getting up, the boy continued to lay there, in a coiled state. She couldn't handle it anymore as she suddenly jumped in and growled at the bullies. The bullies got scared and ran off easily and she paid them no mind as she suddenly sighed and asked, "You're a boy, right? Why aren't you fighting back?" To her surprise and amazement, the boy sat up and was holding in his arms dearly an injured fox. "If I tried to fight back, they would injure this little guy. I'm glad it's okay though. Thanks for coming to help by the way." He smiled widely as he carried the fox up to his face, and no sooner did he do that, the fox licked his nose as if to thank him. After that day, the bond of the two grew stronger and better. They also shared the anxieties of each other about their own siblings and wished each other the best of luck. Flashback end. It has been 3 months since I started living with Dana Obachan. I told Kira-chan where I live now, and since then, I've been getting frequent visits from all of them. Every day was fun. I also spent every day practicing with the flute I was given. The others thought I was a master at it already, but I don't think so. There were also some awesome moments that whenever I play the flute outside, a cool breeze always accompanies my playing. The heat of the sun is quickly forgotten with the breeze. Right now, I was teaching Hinata and Hanabi intermediate songs with the flute. I feel as if I'm only distracting them from their ninja training though. They told me the opposite though. Shina was just listening to us play. A little bit away from us, Izuni-chan, Kira-chan and Ten-ten were training taijutsu. A few hours later and we had to split up and head home. We said our farewells and headed home, but my eye quickly caught something amazing in a shop's window. It was a violin. I've wanted to learn more and more musical instruments ever since I got better at the flute. I squinted my eyes to check the price. It was a little more than I could handle at the moment. Dana Obachan would instantly buy it for me if I asked, but I'd rather not do something like that. I'll just have to give up on it for now and ask for some money in exchange for housework. A few months later and it's almost time for my birthday. These past months were hectic and fun. I along with my friends celebrated each birthday happily. Next is my birthday, truthfully. I don't really like that day. I have a lot of bad memories after all. Dana Obachan told me to just invite my friends and have a nice little party at home. I did what she told me as it was probably the best choice. I also called Tucci-san and Ayame-chan to celebrate with us. It seems they'll be closing shop tomorrow. Happy 10th birthday, Naruto. Claps from around the room were heard. It came from all my friends including Tucci-san and Ayame-chan along with Dana Obachan. Dana Obachan handed me 50 gold coins as a birthday gift. Needless to say it was too much for someone of my age to carry around. Even just one gold coin can feed me ramen for a whole month, 3 times a day. And I eat a lot. I hugged and thanked her as I hid the money in my pocket. Tucci-san and Ayame-chan gave me a very big bowl of ramen as a gift. It was big enough to feed at least 3 people. I can eat this easily. I thanked and hugged them as well and began to chow down. Naruto-kun, we just had dinner though. Kushina went closer to me as she told me this line. I'm always ready for ramen. She giggled at what I said as she handed me gift. Obviously this was gift wrapped. Can I open it? As soon as she gave the okay sign, I immediately went to opening it and what was inside was a flute mouthpiece along with a few music scores. I laid the gift aside and stood up facing her as I thanked and hugged her. She was strangely fidgeting around so I quickly let go as I thanked her again. 1010 also gave me musical scores along with some chocolates. I thanked her as I hugged her. She seemed to lock in place and fidgeting as I did though. Next to give their present was the twins, Hinata and Hanabi. They gave me a clumsily knitted scarf. It was striped with the colors black and orange. I wore the scarf as I did the same thing I did last time but strangely, they too were fidgeting. I wonder why? Izumi-chan walked up to me and told me to close my eyes and wait. I did what was told and as soon as she said it was okay to open my eyes. I was surprised. Her gift was a big guitar. Well, it could be a guitar? It was still in a guitar-shaped bag after all. Can I don't know what kind of face I was making at the moment and frankly, it doesn't matter. Of course, I ran as fast as I could towards the bag and opened it. Inside was as expected, a guitar. I took a quick look and noticed that there was something odd in its shape. It's a special mechanism, Naruto. Don't worry about that for now. Try it, you might like the sound. I did what she said and strummed for a little. I loved it. If I were to be asked what feeling I got from this, I would say that I was full of energy and could feel as if electricity was passing to my veins and making the sounds that much better. In other words, it was perfect. I slowly laid the guitar down carefully as I hugged Izumi-chan and thanked her. Anytime, Naruto. Anytime, she said as she patted my head. As we were all having a quiet and peaceful moment, I wondered why it was so quiet until Naruto ooh. A yell from the front door came and the voice soon got to our positions. I never noticed when Kira-chan went missing but apparently she went ahead to get her gift that she was now holding between her arms. Here, your gift. She held it in front of my face and what it was suddenly licked my nose. I stumbled backwards. Kira-chan, you can't go out and hunt an innocent animal as a gift. In her hands was a small fox. It was strangely obedient unlike other wild animals but still. Mew, she pouted. I wouldn't do such a thing. I took care of this fox just for this day. Here, remember this? She pointed at a small orange band on its arm. Is that? Yup. She nodded, with a grin on her face as she once again held out the fox in front of me. I gladly took it into my arms. Wow. It's been a long time since I've seen this little one. The others flocked around me as they stared at the creature in my arms. It didn't appreciate being looked at as it hid inside my shirt. The others asked what I meant before and I told them that this was the fox I was taking care of when I first met Kira-chan. Dana Obachan, can I keep it? Can I? She looked at me with a scary look on her but she soon laughed and told me. As long as you can take care of it properly, I'll have no qualms against it. Now, what do you plan to name it? The others kept giving suggestions which were easily shut down by the others. In the end, we settled for Q, since it keeps making sounds like that. Thanks Kira-chan. I hugged her, completely forgetting about Q inside my shirt. It was trying to wiggle out and was somehow successful, as in got its head out of the shirt. The day went on by and it was soon time for everyone to head home. I can easily say this was the best birthday I ever had. It was almost 12 a.m. As I was getting ready to sleep, I remember about the 2 ribbons I bought before. I opened the drawer next to my bed and inside was the said ribbons. One was a plain orange ribbon while the other was a black and orange one. I thought of sending both to my sister, but the 2 didn't really match, so I didn't do it, but now I could just send one out and give the other to Q. What should I give to whom? Alright, I decided. I called out to Q, who was under the pillow, still energetic from the event before. I slowly held the ribbon in its tail and tied it. Q wasn't really irritated at the ribbon, more like it was curious what was stuck on its tail as it kept circling around just to get at it. Excuse me, Kunoichi-san? I called out, not really expecting anyone to come out. Yes? Since I didn't really expected someone to come out, she really scared me. Can you send this to my little sister? She lives in the Hokage's house. If things get dangerous, just say it's from me and give it to someone else. Sure. She nodded and took the black and orange ribbon from my grasp and vanished away. I guess it's time to sleep. I took Q away from chasing its tail and got into a comfy position. Q had other ideas as it kept squirming around, but for now, it's time to sleep, so it gave up and laid its body to rest with me as it went to lick my nose and lay down. It's been half a year already and everything has been going okay. Everyone was unable to meet up frequently due to more busy schedules that would undoubtedly get even busier soon since they're almost of age to start kunoichi training. Oba-chan told me that most girls with the capacity to be a kunoichi when they come of age, whatever she meant by that, were trained to start out as genin or the lowest ranking kunoichi. Izune was a real smart student, being the first 15-year-old junin. Though I still don't know how high that rank is, Oba-chan told me it was really up there. Right now, I already know by hand how to play a guitar, even when blindfolded. That's 2 instruments now. I think it's about time for me to start practicing with a new instrument. I still practice flute and guitar frequently, so it's not like I'm stopping on those. By the way, Q grew up a lot in just half a year. Right now, it's as big as an adult. Which was weird since I was sure it's still a puppy since it doesn't act like an adult. Clang clang. Excuse me? I'm still hesitant on going inside stores since I was always immediately chased out. Hello? I called out again. What do you want, brat? I quickly looked around to where the voice came from. It was to my left. Well, I wanted to buy an instrument if possible. I know who you are, kid. I instantly felt sad. Whenever someone who was a clerk in a store says this, they'd biasedly oust me out of the store. Frankly, it doesn't matter to me and I don't care about it. What does matter is, if you can pay for the instrument. Oh, of course. I instantly smile at the old man as he straightened out his posture. You're a customer then. So, what do you plan on buying? He suddenly smiled at me as he asked. A violin, please. Well, take your pick then. I've got lots, including violas and other violin branch instruments. Actually, I wanted to buy the one in the window there. I pointed towards the violin I wanted to buy and his smile soon vanished. I don't know about that, kid. Your money might not be enough. I have enough. I looked at the price months ago. Even though I told him I had enough money, his face was still devoid of the smile he once had. Let me be honest to you then, kid. Before I became a humble music store owner, I used to be an adventurer, a mercenary of sorts. I kept gathering things I got from places and monsters I hunted to make my own weapons. A minstrel walked to the bar I was on this one night and the music he made? It touched my soul. Ever since then, I quit my adventuring days and retired to this store. Okay? That was a cool story, sir, but what does this have to do with the violin? That violin is made by me. It was made from some 1,000-year-old tree or something. The lumber was hard to cut down. The shape of the violin itself was sorry for the choice of words. A bitch to make, and even the bow was made of the same wood. The violin strings is made by some special alloy that produces angelic sounds when played. It came from some place where people worship a person called Tsuchikage. The bowstrings is easier though, it's made whiskers from some tiger-like monsters. Wow, that violin sounds so cool. I'm even more willing to buy it now, sir. The old man only sighed though. Not finished yet, kid. As I was saying, that thing is more than an instrument. It's good and hard enough to be a club. Give it a few tweaks and it could even pass as a weapon. It's dangerous. I don't think it's wise to let you buy it. He was now staring at me intently. I promise to take good care of it, sir. I'll even try to make sure not to hurt anyone using this instrument. Hearing what I said, the man only roared in laughter. Don't worry about not hurting anyone, kid. It was made like that precisely for combat purposes along with its musical purposes. I'm willing to sell it to you as long as you take care of it. With that, the deal was good as done. As soon as I got it in my hands, I tried doing as I did with the guitar and plucked the strings one by one. The sound was heavenly. Kid, do you even know how to play that thing? I told him no. He sighed again. Okay, how about this? The price for that violin is unanimously cheap for something with those ingredients used to make it. The materials alone will cost about 1 to 200 gold coins, but the violin is cheaply sold at 15 gold coins, 25 silver coins and 25 copper coins. Let's make the price 18 gold coins and I'll teach you how to play that thing correctly. What do you say? Okay. I handed him the money and he went on to teach me how it was played. It was kind of confusing compared to the guitar. Once I told him that, he told me that I had a few wrong points in the guitar and asked me if I played any other instrument. Even the flute was wrong on some points. Just goes to show me that I'm not so much of a master at the instruments than I thought I was. He decided to teach me how to play other instruments too. With a price though, 2 silver coin per session. Sounds reasonable enough, so I agreed. Hey old man, shut up kid, I'm 28, I'm not that old yet. Thanks for everything, my name's Naruto. I smiled at him while hugging my new instruments. He was telling the truth. This violin was hard. Wrong order of introduction but whatever. Call me Rudius, or Rudy for short. I've got to go now, Rudy-san. I'll come back tomorrow for more practice. I waved at him before reaching out for the door. Wait a moment kid. I stopped in my position and looked back. If you have any broken strings or problems regarding your broken bowstrings, I have extras. They're costly but they make the sound of the instrument magnificent. Also, just call me Rudy. No, San, it makes me sound old. I nodded and went on my way. I'm already 11 years old now. I've been able to use quite a lot of instruments now. My favorite is still my flute and the violin, but the drums and harp sounds good too. Rudy has other strong materialized instruments, but I won't have enough to even buy any of those, so I hold out for now. He's also been teaching me some swordsmanship, which wasn't really part of the instrument teaching. He told me he wanted me to fully utilize the instrument's full potentials. Right now, he taught me that the bow of my violin, Black Hornet, could double as a sword if I tweaked it a little. Anyways, this type of swordsmanship would be useless against kunoichis but very useful against monsters. I also showed him Q, but he hid behind the counter and yelled at me. Flashback. Naruto, what are you doing with that monster? Well, that's not nice. Calling Q a monster. As if to agree with me, it cooed out as I pet its head. I'm not being rude. Remember when I told you I used to hunt monsters? That's one of those monsters. A normal fox doesn't grow that big. Flashback end. Now that he mentions it, Q is as big as a pony right now. It's still energetic like before, but she's more mellowed out compared to back when she's still a pup, or was it called Kit? Apparently Q was a monster fox, but it didn't matter. It's a good little fox after all. A few months later an Oba-chan told me that we needed to go to a different country for a while. This decision of hers started when she saw me practicing the swordsmanship and with my harp. As a man, I can't control chakra. But apparently, being the host of the Nine-Tailed Fox, that rule changed as, I can't control chakra, but can use it. There was apparently some girl in history that was unable to control chakra but can use it almost the same way I did. The girl from history was able to use chakra via emotions. The same way I'm able to use it via instruments. I was practicing my harp in the backyard when I felt too relaxed and with a swing of my arm to indicate the last stroke of the song. The fence was cut in half. Apparently, I just used something called wind blades. Oba-chan didn't want me to accidentally hurt others while I was playing with my instruments, and at the same time wanted to bring me to someone that could teach me a more proper swordsmanship that could be equals to the strength of Kenjutsu. Sorry Rudy. Oba-chan called your swordsmanship sloppy. I told Oba-chan that I wanted to say goodbye to the others. She told me otherwise. She said it was best to not let the others know since it will only hurt more. Listen well Naruto. You will be trained to your utmost limits. You can't give up halfway. If you do, We cannot go back here. Understand? I nodded. Yes, Oba-chan. Good. Now let's go. Come on, Q. We need to go now. She cooed back as she ran next to me. 3.5 years. It took me 3.5 years to get where I am now. I'm definitely stronger than your average kunoichi. Dana Oba-chan says I'm around mid-chunin level. Now that I got stronger, it was time for us to get back home, but the 3 years I spent here, I'll never forget them. Seriously, I wish I could to some of them. Flashback sequence. That's not how you hold a sword. I've been hit again. This kick hurts more than some of the previous beatings I've received, but strangely, I'm alright with it. Must be the fact that they're what I call teachers. I don't know who they are, but Oba-chan says they're well-known swordswomen from Kirigakure. Kiri and Konoha aren't the best when it comes to being friendly with one another, so it comes as a mystery to me as to why and how she knows these people. Don't look away now, boy. Guha. I received another kick from behind. Even without ninjutsu, all of them are fast and strong, not to mention having to fight 2 of them at the same time. Oi, oi, let him get a bit of breather, Momo. This comment caused the woman to glare at her. My name is Zabuza, damn it. Also, going easy isn't my style. I should say the same about you, Ringo. Teach him better than this. Just cause he can't use chakra and jutsus doesn't mean a thing. Going easy ain't gonna help him for the long run. The woman called Ringo seemed to contemplate on what she said, and after a few seconds she asked, "Do you feel the same way, Naruto? Am I not taking you too seriously? Give me your honest opinion. Depending on this choice, things will change, but that's normal." Why? Yes. Ringo looked at the ground for a few seconds, and once she raised her head, there was a deathly glint present in her eyes. Then I'll get serious. Don't die, kid. Momochi Zabuza decided to go straight after me, and it took all of my power just to dodge. No sooner when I get up, I feel a grim reminder that there was 2 of them I'm fighting with when I barely dodged and got cut on my left arm. I must say, I'm impressed though. Normally, people wouldn't sense Ringo's sword when she's serious. You've got strong senses, boy. Right now though? You're prey. This was all she said before lunging straight at me. Ringo-san not saying anything and just went to blindside me along with Zabuza-san. This was the grim start of my training. I had my free time between sword training to do whatever I needed or wanted to do, so I really need to organize my time schedule. After having eaten lunch, I went back to practicing on my violin. I miss eating a lot, but I learned never to eat a lot when I'm training, the hard way. Shaking my head to forget about those type of memories, I played a simple song to accommodate the relaxing moment. A few moments later when I finished, I noticed that 3 out of 7 of my swordsmanship teachers were listening to me play. Nice sound there, kid. You sure you want to train swordsmanship instead of music? You've got a good grip on swordsmanship, sure. But comparing this to your swordsmanship is like comparing a pebble against a boulder. Feeling a little proud and shy from her praise, I couldn't help but scratch the back of my head as I told her. Haha, thanks for the praise, Rai-san, but I'm still not that good enough to be called a pro or anything when it comes to music. Of course I plan to get better, but music can't help me defend the people precious to me. That's where swordsmanship comes to place. With a grin on my face, I proudly say it to them, which caused them to laugh boisterously. It's hard to imagine this area used to be peaceful a moment ago. I like your spirit, brat. Let's get to training then. 3 against 1. Try to last long. I can more or less handle practicing against one of them. Sure, they're just attacking me with the back of the blade, and sure, I can't really counterattack and all I do is dodge and fail to attack, but I can last a little long. 2 of them is harder but still manageable. Somewhat, but I never tried sparring against 3 of them. Nor do I want to. It's still break time, Momo-san. I tried to remove the talk from 1 against 3 sparring session. I used her hated nickname, but that may have been my mistake. Don't call me Momo. She yelled angrily and suddenly vanished from the spot she was standing on, only to suddenly appear in front of me, her blade drawing an arc straight towards me. Can't dodge this. Need to block. Without thinking, I let my instincts kick in as I blocked the incoming sword with the bow in my left hand. As soon as they touched, I felt a stinging sensation running to my hand straight through my arm. Talk about a power swing. The 3 of them stared at the bow in my hand. Zabuza-san quickly asked me a question in her mind. Good block, kid, but what is thing made of? Ordinary wood would have gotten chopped off if it was. I explained the details to them, and once I finished, I could swear they were looking as if they could hardly believe what I said. I'll explain. You see, the man named Rudius? He's a well-known person in the mercenary business. He's known as Monster Hunter for hunting and killing monsters that would take a team of 3 to 4 Jonins. Keep this in mind, kid, he's a male. Unable to use chakra. I knew he was used to fighting monsters, but this was the first time I really learned what he was fighting against. I see him in a better light due to this information. Now I see why and how this flimsy-looking thing could block a real sword. In fact, I now know how he's able to fight and kill monsters. This thing can be a weapon too if we fit this with a blade and a bladed tip. It can pass as a bona fide sword and no one would be the wiser. Let's do it. Seeing the opening I had, Zabuza quickly took the bow away from my hand and quickly went. Wait, don't just plan to do things with other people's belongings. I tried to counter the fast-paced talk with this sentence, but I instead got a glare from her. I seem to remember someone calling me an annoying nickname before. Who could that be? I tried to be dignified, to fight back, alas. Please, handle it with care. I folded. Of course. A few days later, I saw the bow back. On the tip was a blade meant for stabbing, but that couldn't just be all of it. It felt heavier than normal. But Zabuza never told me all of the details that she did to my bow. As revenge, I call her as Momo in my mind. I was laying down on the grass, after a fierce sparring practice like what I was doing. I can't help but do it. I close my eyes, relaxing to the cool winds that were hitting my face. A moment later and something else was hitting my face. It was wet and long, and I also hear yips from time to time. I opened my eyes to see an overgrown fox in front of me. Hello, Q. I received a yip in response before it went towards the location it was going to. I noticed the thing in its mouth and quickly recognized it as tonight's ingredients for dinner. I also noticed the black ribbon on its tail and it instantly reminded me of someone. Narumi. I left the house when I was young and we rarely talked to each other after that. I don't know. I was running away from her. She tried to talk to me a lot of times, but I was scared to interact with her in person. For all the things I've said, I don't really think that I could become a family with them again. I'll try to patch things up when I get back, and then. No more running away. Hello Naruto, are you done practicing the elemental control? These words made me steer away from my thoughts. Obviously, since I saw Q before, that means Dana Obachan would come sometime soon. As a male, I obviously can't use chakra. That was a given, or at least it was supposed to, but ever since the fateful day of me accidentally using wind blades with the harp years ago, we both learned that things weren't so simple after all. Thanks to the fox's chakra, instead of can't use, it became can't control. She started teaching me about anything chakra control related, but it was all for naught. Apparently, I still can't use chakra except for the nature's chakra. She asked me what I felt before when it happened, and all I told her was that the wind's nature to turn from a normal breeze to a strong gust. And when I told her, she told me to repeat the same process. I did as what was told and it majestically failed when I was using the violin but magically worked with the lyre. It only works on harp and harp-like instruments. Furthermore, you can only use the wind blades. How peculiar. You should test out other things, Naruto. And that I did. I found out I can control earth nature chakra with drums as long as they're not snare-type drums. How mysterious. I tried asking the Kyuubi, but all she said was, as tailed beasts are all made from nature chakra. Purest of the pure type of chakra, it's normal. I sort of understand what she means, but I didn't get any help from her regarding this. With this, I can, somehow, use wind-type chakra and earth-type chakra. The wind blades are strong but very deadly. I'll use this a last-ditch effort against someone. As for the earth-type, all I can do is launch fist-sized rocks. Depending on where I concentrate, the rocks could come from anywhere. But bass drums are really heavy, so it's also a no-go in combat. Well, either way, let's go back and eat some dinner, shall we? I stood up from my spot and walked home with her. I just found out the hard way about the whole specifics regarding the upgrade my bow received other than the bladed tip. I found a small indent on the bow's frog and out popped a blade. Due to the bow's strings being from a monster, it wasn't cut easily and it now passes as a weapon. But how am I supposed to hold this? Also, getting cut every time to get the blade out doesn't sound tempting at all. I went to complain to Momo, but all I got was another game of cat and mouse, me being the mouse and her being the cat hunting me down. Everything that happened had to end when some of the swordswomen had somewhere important to go to, and that marked the end of my swordsmanship training. But 1 month before we go back home to Konoha, I met a strange man. He had a lute in his bag and he was laughing heartily at me when he was watching my performance. "You're quite good, kid. You aspiring to be a bard or something?" "A bard? That doesn't sound so bad, but I have people to protect, so all I can do is use this music to ease people's worries." For his part, he was sizing me up, a few moments later, and he put his hands on my shoulder and said, "I'll teach you about my kind of music then." Before I can even ask what he meant, he put his lute in his arms and he did something, I don't know what, but whatever it was made me feel energetic. Strong even. This is called music magic, kid. It's not really real, mind you, it's just what I call it. Either way, it's just something to strengthen people you view as a friend. Also, the way it works is very complex. I saw you using that weird wind cutting thing with your lyre before. You needed to be relaxed, right? With all he was saying, I was unable to talk back, so I decided not to. I just nodded. "Well, you can't use that and this at the same time. Using this skill needs your feelings, kid. Such as the one I did. I wanted you to do your best and all, and that makes the body more pumped. Think of it as helping the instincts. I never tried with other stuff, but you might found out the secrets of music. Remember, music is deeper than you think. By the way, what you were doing before was amazing, being relaxed and all like that, but I got to warn you, if you didn't try to control those wind thingies, you would have made everything and everyone around you fall asleep. That's another part of the music magic I was talking about. Well, we'll meet again sometime soon. Probably, call me, minstrel, see ya." And as mysteriously as he arrived, he disappeared. A few days later after that, I tried doing what the minstrel taught me. I went and told Q to come with me to the forest. In front of a tree, I told her to tackle the tree. She did what was told, but as it was a sturdy tree, even a fox her size wouldn't be able to move it. I tried remembering what the minstrel told me. Focus on the thought, do your best, and played music that can correspond with the same thought. I told Q to do it again, and even though there was almost nothing changed between this tackle and the previous one, I noticed a crack on the tree's husk as a fruit fell beside her. She seemed to be looking at it and me, so I told her to go ahead and eat it. This skill might prove useful. End of flashback sequence. I'm back, Konoha. I'm finally back. I was looking in front of the gates of my place of birth. I must say I missed this place. I have a few things to take care of. You go on ahead of me. I nodded and quickly went towards a specific place. The hideout. When I arrived, no one was there. Obviously, since they were busy being starting out kunoichi training and all. If I remember correctly, kunoichi training starts out once they turn 13. The age when they're already seen as an adult. Some start out at the age of 14, but most start as early as 13. I wanted to see everyone, but I guess that's just not possible right now. When I turned around to go back home, I saw Q. She seemed to have followed me, wanting to see the others as well. Well, I guess I can stay for a few moments. I took out the flute from the bag I had with me and played a melody, a longing yet energetic song. Pretty much how I feel right now. I missed this place and the people I know, but at the same time, I'm proudly saying I'm back. After I finished playing the flute, I hear some footsteps quickly coming towards the hideout. The people that I saw afterwards brought tears to my face. I'm back, everyone. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.